They will tell you they are doing their best, but there's a saying that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. If they were doing what they were supposed to do effectively, some of the issues would have been minimized. But another question is, let us put this in context. The commission, according to the instruments, are supposed to be the ones to advise both the Council of Ministers and then the Authority of Heads of State. And there's supposed to be a legal department that will also be checking on this compliance with the protocol and then the instruments. What has happened is that there appears to be a disconnect. One, between what the technocrats or the civil servants are doing and what the heads of states are doing. From all indications, the heads of states have hijacked, taken over everything in ECOWAS. Maybe they are no longer listening to the technocrats or what advice they are giving. But at the same time, one would have expected, for instance, in Togo, when the President Yassebe was carrying out all these constitutional changes, that the ECOWAS Commission should have come out with some, at least a press release, a communique, pointing out where you are not fighting the heads of state, because that appears maybe there's a fear or they are under political pressure. But that is where I usually cite the two examples. In 2009, when the military regime, Tanja, carried out a coup and he wanted to change, no, he was elected. He wanted to sack the parliament. But the ECOWAS Commission stood up to that and said, no, you cannot do that. And when he was trying to do that, a coup happened and then he was removed. But ECOWAS stood his ground. Then in 2011, ECOWAS refuse to send election observers to elections that former President Yahya Jammeh conducted, presidential election, because ECOWAS has sent a fact-finding mission that came back with a report to say no, that there is no, the playing field is not clear there is no, it's not conducive to democratic principles. And so ECOWAS Commission refused to send, and didn't stop there, refused even to acknowledge the outcome of that election. And then, because you talked about AU, much of what you find at the AU were copied from the ECOWAS book. Okay? And that is why many are, today are really disappointed with ECOWAS. That they are failing to live up to their own standards, the standard they set for themselves. So ECOWAS refused and did not recognize that election. Meanwhile, there is a AU Commission on People's Rights, or whatever they call it. Okay, that is in Banjul, the Gambian capital, where Ejeme was carrying out some of those atrocities for 22 years. AU did not raise a finger. So the ECOWAS has gone very far in terms of, was a trailblazer. And that is why they are telling ECOWAS now that you have dropped the ball. Why are you were coups that happened from 2020 were not the first coups in ECOWAS member states, but ECOWAS had managed to, go get things, get the coup makers back on track. Because at the end of the day, all these coup makers will tell you they will still do what they normally do. Change like the Guinea man is doing, Dambuya. Change their khaki and put on Agbada. But the point is that by the time they now return their country to constitutional order, the country would have lost so many years in development. Because each time you break, it will cost you a lot to do a catch-up. So back to the question. ECOWAS Commission ought to rise up to its duty of calling out the leaders whenever they are taking this, when they are in violation of ECOWAS protocols. There's nothing wrong with that. If a leader, for instance, in Guinea-Bissau has now, what is it called? All opposition parties have been suspended, and ECOWAS has not said anything. Okay, there is no parliament, there is no political parties. You don't even have a court. You don't have anything functioning in terms of the convergence principles of democracy that the ECOWAS member is supposed. They have something onto it to abide by it. These are protocols that are binding. So it is the duty of the commission to always call out. I know it takes, that is why whoever is coming after this commission, they should get somebody who is bold, who is dynamic, who is visionary, and who can stand up to the political leaders. Once you have been elected and made the head of, you are no longer beholden to your country or any other person. You are supranational. You can now operate and tell them, listen, to leave a legacy that I am here, once I have been brought here, I want to leave a legacy of a democratic principle that people, that is not just on paper, but people will see it, that the protocol that the heads of states have signed up to, they are living up to it. But that is not happening now, because they will rise and condemn. And it's not to support, nobody supports military rule because it's an aberration. But when the civilians themselves are carrying out this, what amounts to coups, civilian coups on the constitution or electoral laws, it is the duty of the commission to call them to order. So we need somebody with that boldness, with the courage to stand up and tell the leader, if we are not going to confront them, but sign because I have seen this present administration where we saw two communiques. I think it was on, whether it was on Senegal or Togo, where one said that ECOWAS will look into the crisis in that country. Another community came and said, no, it is not, they are not looking into any other thing. It is just in respect of the forthcoming election, as if they are afraid. So it depends on the individuals and the character that they will bring to head the commission this time. It must be somebody who would be ready to take on, to withstand the political pressure and call out the heads of state. When they do anything in any country, it doesn't matter whether it is in his own country. I remember in, when was it? Chief Emeka Anyaoku was the president, was the Secretary General of the Commonwealth when Nigeria was suspended, because Abacha then had killed the Ogundi, you see how many of them they were, Kensaru and so on. So he didn't stop them. He didn't say, because I'm from Nigeria. Once you have gone to that international, you become above your country. You are now working for the region. You are now pro and pan-ECOWAS, pan-African. That is the only way that ECOWAS can recover what it has lost in all these years from 2012 or 2015, because there has been a continuous erosion of the powers of the commission, of not being able to do its job. It stopped with 2011 with Beho. After that, it is the Hallelujah kind of commission that we have had, just pandering to what the heads of state said. Who tells you that the heads of state or the council of state cannot make mistakes? They are human beings. And if you allow them, they will always have their way. But you will now, which is when you now call them to order by issuing a statement to say what ECOWAS Commission condemns what is happening, or wish to call the attention of this country to this that is in violation of what the relevant provisions, chapters. It will be there. You will be exonerated when the question will now come, and that will even make the heads of state to sit up. If they were going to take any decision that is against the protocol, when they see that in the press, in the public space, there is a communique warning against such impunity, they will do something. But when you are now only saying thank you very much, you will have nothing to say, whether out of fear or compromise or whatever, or incompetence. That is not helping ECOWAS. So one is warning, one is suggesting that please, whoever will come as president of the commission, he cannot do it alone. And with all the commissioners, they should be people of, character, people with integrity, people with a track record of working to leave a legacy, a pan-ECOWAS legacy, a legacy that supports the integration of the region, a legacy that will put ECOWAS where it has always been, on top and above all the other regional economic communities. Otherwise, I think ECOWAS is losing relevance. It has, very soon, people will be asking, what is this ECOWAS doing? Because for the past, it has dropped the ball. It is no longer, and it is, you are being judged by what you have done in the past. Why have you now decided to